what's up? This is View88 here with another album review. Today's album review, or this album review, is Metallica's sixth album, Load. We did the last album, Black Album, which was their fifth one, or that's what it's known as, the Black Album, but it's really, the real title of it is Metallica, their self-titled album. So, this is their sixth album, came out in 1996, has 14 tracks on it. I think it's their longest album to date. But one of the most hated albums of Metallica, I should say. There's a lot more albums that are hated than this. I think one of them probably is the new Miley Cyrus album, I think, just because of how crazy she is now. But anyway, so Load actually kind of started. During this time, they actually started kind of changing themselves. They started experimenting with more of a bluesy sound to it, so it's more of a blues metal. But the thing is, a lot of people kind of say, oh yeah, blues metal kind of sucks, like this album sucks because they experimented more with blues. But the thing is, metal actually came from blues. Blues rock was really more the huge, big, should I say, genre that heavy metal bands kind of expanded on. So this really kind of takes it back to a lot of metal's roots. And that's one reason why I like it. Because, like I said, I'm not a huge metal fan, so, but this is kind of like the closest I can listen to, not really the closest, I could still listen to like thrash metal and stuff like that, but it's not, I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, and they also started cutting their hair because they used to have this really long hair because they used to be, there was always this thing that metal bands had to have long hair, even like men from the band had to have long hair. Girls obviously would probably have long hair anyway, but men had to have long hair in order to be considered an actual metal band. Even if they made metal music, they still had to have long hair. And Metallica just kind of said F that and, cut their hair short. And, Kirk Hammett kind of had this, like, really, like, curly hair type of thing. So it was, like, short, curly hair. And I actually liked it, I think, I'm fine with their long hair and stuff like that. But at some point, I'm going to think, at some point, I think that, it's probably going to annoy them at some point, that long hair. It's probably going to, like, start, like, tickling them when they don't want to be tickled. I know that sounds really wrong, but I mean it. So the track listings: Ain't My Bitch, 2x4, The House Jack Built, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, Cure, Poor Twisted Me, Wasting My Hate, Mama Said, Thorn Within, Ronnie, and The Outlaw Torn. The Outlaw Torn, I think, is the longest song off this album. Like I said, it has more of a blues metal sound to it. I think there were some songs that a lot of people considered like a pop punk type of song. That's why at some point I fooled myself into thinking this album was kind of like a pop punk album in a way, pop punk metal, or punk metal. Really isn't. So really the singles off this album are Until It Sleeps, King Nothing being the one that most people know, or the most popular one. Hero of the Day, Mama Said, more of a southern rocky type of kid rock sound to it. And there was Ain't My Bitch being kind of released as a promotional single. My favorite song off this album probably is either 2x4 or Ain't My Bitch. Just because, I don't know, I guess there's some of the shortest songs off the album, even though Until It Sleeps and Hero of the Day are shorter. And Wasting My Hate's shorter as well. But, it's still a really good album, in my opinion. I'm glad that they started experimenting, because at some point bands have to experiment with their sound. A lot of bands that like became big with like the punk and metal things started more experimenting with the alternative and electronic type of sound, and a lot of people were kind of flacking them for that, and they don't realize that bands have to change their sound, or else you'll probably get bored. And a lot of people don't exactly understand that. And they always think that, they'll probably still be into this genre so many years from now, and, hear want to hear the same thing from the band, Same album, just a different name and different songs, same genre, and it's like, really? So if you if this album was another, should I say, if all of Metallica's albums were basically the same thing as Master of Puppets, would you want to listen to them then? So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with, and yeah, see ya.